I used to think a haircut couldn't fix anything you didn't like about your face. I was wrong, and I spent years proving myself wrong the hard way. Today I'm walking you through 3 haircuts that genuinely take years off a woman over 60, and 3 that quietly add them, even when they look pretty in the mirror at the salon. You'll know exactly what to ask for, and exactly what to avoid before your next appointment. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 50 so you get real results, fast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. I cover this every week. Part 1. The 2 cuts that take years off instantly. Here's something most stylists won't say out loud in the chair. The haircut that makes you look younger almost never has more length. It has more movement near the face. Length alone reads as heavy and static is what ages a face fastest, more than the gray, more than the lines. The first cut I want you looking at is a soft layered bob that stops right at the jaw or just below it. When you see a woman your age wearing this, you probably feel that quiet little pull of she looks put together, without knowing exactly why. Now you'll know why. The fix here isn't just get a bob. It's specifically asking your stylist for internal graduation through the layers, so the weight lifts away from the jawline instead of sitting on top of it. A blunt bob with no internal graduation does the opposite of what you want. It pulls the eye straight down to the jaw and chin, which is exactly the area most of us are trying to soften, not spotlight. Internal graduation removes bulk from the underneath sections while keeping the outer shape smooth and intact, so from the front it still reads clean and polished, but the movement underneath does the actual softening work. Ask specifically for graduated layering starting about an inch above the jaw, cut with the head tilted forward, so the layers fall naturally when you're upright. That single request changes the entire result. Here's the part that surprises people every time. This cut also does something for your neck that almost nothing else does as effectively. The angle at the jaw creates a soft diagonal line that draws the eye along your jaw instead of straight down your neck, which is one of the fastest, cheapest ways to visually soften that area without a single product or procedure. Women tell me constantly that they feel like their neck looks different after this cut, and it's not the neck that changed. It's the frame around it. The result you're actually chasing is this. People stop noticing your haircut and start noticing you. That's the real marker of success here, not compliments on the cut itself, but people saying you look rested, or lit up, or did you do something? You did. You just didn't do the thing they're guessing at. The second cut in this part is the curtain fringe, and this is the one I get the most questions about because women assume it only works on younger faces. It doesn't. A curtain fringe swept and parted just past the center of the forehead, falling in soft pieces past the temples, does something a full blunt fringe can never do at any age. It opens the whole face instead of covering it. A blunt, heavy fringe cut straight across the brow does 2 things you don't want after 60. It shortens the face, and it draws a hard horizontal line right where you already have the most visible fine lines, the forehead. A curtain fringe does the reverse. Ask your stylist to cut it with a razor rather than shears, feathering the ends so there's no blunt line anywhere in the fringe. The pieces should be longest at the outer corners near your temples and shortest, barely grazing your brow, at the center part. This creates a soft frame around your eyes rather than a lid over your forehead. The snapback most women describe here is about their eyes specifically. The curtain fringe pulls attention directly to the eyes because it frames them on both sides without adding weight above them. Several women in my comments have said this cut made people ask if they'd had something done around their eyes. Nothing was done except cutting hair to frame them properly. Here's a small, specific memory that stuck with me. A viewer named Carol wrote in last year saying her hairdresser talked her out of a curtain fringe for 2 appointments running, telling her it would wash her out. She finally insisted on the 3rd visit. She wrote back 3 weeks later saying a woman at her grocery store, a total stranger, stopped her to ask what she changed about her face. It was the fringe. It's always the fringe. Before and after here is precise. Before, a flat, uniform blunt bob with no fringe. Hair falling straight and heavy along the jaw with no separation anywhere. After, the same length bob with internal graduation lifting the underneath layers, paired with a soft curtain fringe parted past center, and feathered at the ends. Same woman, same length, completely different age red. So those are your first 2 years off cuts. And notice they work together. A graduated jaw-length bob softens your lower face and neck. A feathered curtain fringe opens your eyes and softens your forehead. Between them, they cover almost the entire face. But there's a cut coming up in this video that undoes both of these if you layer it in wrong. And it's one nearly every woman over 60 has been talked into at least once by a well-meaning stylist who genuinely thought they were helping. Part 2. The cut that's quietly adding years to your face. I need to tell you about the haircut that gets recommended more than any other to women over 60, and it's the one doing the most damage. It's the short, uniform, all-one-length Pixie, cut close and even all over with no shaping anywhere. Stylists love recommending it because it's low maintenance and easy to cut. That doesn't mean it's right for your face. Here's the actual problem with it, and it's not about pixies in general, because a well-shaped pixie can look incredible on a woman over 60. The problem is uniformity. When every section of hair is the same length with no crown layering and no disconnection anywhere, the cut sits on the head like a helmet. It doesn't move. And a haircut that doesn't move is a haircut that ages you. Because movement is one of the strongest visual signals of vitality we read on another person, often before we've even registered a single feature of their face. There's a second issue, and it's about proportion. An all-one-length pixie, especially when cut too short and too close at the sides, tends to widen the face at the exact point where most of us are already carrying the most visible changes, along the jaw and lower cheek. Without any height or texture at the crown to balance that width, the whole face reads shorter and rounder than it actually is. Women come to me confused because they lost weight or their face genuinely got more defined with age. But the haircut is working against every bit of that progress. The fix isn't abandoning short hair. It's asking for disconnected layering with real crown height. This means the sides and back stay short and neat, but the stylist cuts the crown sections at a different, longer length and points the shears in vertically rather than straight across, creating soft, disconnected pieces that stand slightly away from the head at the crown. This single change adds visible lift and movement, exactly where the old cut had none. The technical term for what you want to request is disconnected point cutting at the crown, with the sides left connected and smooth. Ask your stylist to point cut the top sections rather than blunt cutting them, and to leave at least 2 to 3 inches of extra length at the crown compared to the sides. This creates the disconnection that gives the whole shape lift, dimension, and visible movement, while keeping the neat, low-maintenance quality that made you want short hair in the first place. The result women describe after this adjustment is almost always about their whole face looking lighter. Not smaller, lighter, like something had been visually lifted off the top of their head. That's exactly what's happening. Crown height creates length in the face vertically, which balances out any width at the jaw, and disconnected pieces create shadow and highlight variation across the top of the head that a flat, uniform cut simply cannot produce. I want to share something a woman named Patricia told me after switching from the uniform Pixie to this version. She said her granddaughter, 9 years old, looked at her differently styled hair and asked, completely unprompted, "Grandma, did your hair get taller?" Out of the mouths of children. That's crown height and disconnection, described perfectly by someone who has never heard either term. Before and after on this one is stark. Before, an all-one-length pixie, flat and uniform from crown to nape, no shaping, no lift anywhere on the head. After, the same short length overall, but with disconnected point-cut layering at the crown creating visible height and movement, sides left smooth and connected. So if you're sitting in a chair right now and a stylist suggests just keeping it simple and even all over, that's your cue to ask specifically about crown disconnection before you say yes. Coming up next is a cut that seems completely harmless, almost invisible in photos, and it's the one that surprised me most when I learned what it was actually doing to how people read your age. Part 3. The 2 mistakes hiding in plain sight. This next one is sneaky because it doesn't look like a mistake in the mirror. It looks like a perfectly normal, even one-length haircut past the shoulders, the kind of style that feels safe because it's exactly what you've always had. That's the trap. Long, one-length hair past the shoulders with zero layering anywhere in the cut is one of the fastest ways to add visible age to a face over 60, and almost nobody tells you why until it's already happened. Hair naturally thins and loses density as we age. That part isn't a secret. What is less talked about is what long, unlayered hair does to thinning strands specifically. Without any layers to break up the length, every strand carries weight all the way to the same endpoint, and thinning hair simply cannot support that kind of uniform weight the way it could decades ago. The result is hair that looks stringy and flat rather than long and flowing, no matter how healthy the hair actually is underneath. It's not a texture problem. It's a weight distribution problem. And the fix is entirely in the cut, not the products. The fix here is long layers cut with elevation, meaning the stylist lifts sections of hair away from the head at an angle before cutting, rather than cutting straight down with the hair lying flat. This removes internal weight throughout the length, while keeping the overall length intact. So you keep the long hair you love, but the strands finally have room to move and show natural body instead of collapsing under their own weight. Ask specifically for layers cut at a 45 to 90 degree elevation starting from the collarbone downward, with the heaviest layering concentrated in the bottom third of the length, rather than up near the crown. This keeps volume and root support where you already have it while doing the real work lower down, where density has usually thinned the most. The result is long hair that finally has visible movement when you turn your head, instead of hair that hangs like a single flat curtain. The snapback here is about how people read your hair's health, not just its shape. Elevation cut layers catch light differently at every layer break, which reads visually as shine and vitality even on hair that's completely natural with no color treatment at all. Women tell me their hair looks thicker after this cut, and it's rarely because the hair actually got denser. It's because the layers are finally creating the light and shadow variation that reads as thickness to the eye. Now, the second mistake hiding in this part is one almost every woman over 60 has been talked into at some point. Overprocessed, brassy, uneven color that's meant to cover gray, but ends up doing the opposite of aging gracefully. Flat, solid, one-tone dark color applied all over does something almost nobody expects. It makes every line and shadow on the face look sharper and more pronounced by contrast, because there's no softness in the hair color to balance it. The fix is soft, hand-painted baby lights placed strategically around the face, specifically at the hairline and part, rather than an all-over single process color. Baby lights are ultrafine, softly diffused highlights that mimic the way hair naturally lightens with sun exposure. And when placed just around the face, they create gentle, soft light exactly where your features need the most softening. Ask your colorist specifically for face-framing baby lights with a soft, low-contrast tone, no more than 2 to 3 shades lighter than your base color, so the effect stays subtle and natural rather than stripy or obvious. The result is a softer overall look at the face, without changing a single thing about your actual skin. Soft baby lights diffuse and scatter light near the hairline instead of creating one flat, hard-edged color block, and that scattered light softens the contrast between hair and skin exactly where the eye first lands. Women who make this switch consistently tell me people ask if they've been sleeping better, or ask if they changed their skincare routine. They didn't. They changed their hair's relationship to light. Before and after here. Flat, solid one-tone dark color with zero dimension, next to soft face-framing baby lights placed at the hairline, and part with gentle, natural-looking lift. 2 mistakes down in this part, both hiding in plain sight because they look like safe, normal choices. There's one more cut left, and it's the one I saved for last on purpose, because it's the single most requested style in my comments, and almost every woman asking for it is asking for the wrong version of it. Part 4. The most requested cut, done the right way. Every week, someone in my comments asks for the Jennifer Aniston layers, or that shaggy layered cut everyone over 60 is getting right now. The shag is genuinely one of the best cuts available to mature women. But there's a version of it that ages you and a version that takes years off, and the difference comes down to exactly one thing: where the layering starts. The version that ages you is a shag with layering that starts too high, right at the top of the crown, cut too short and too choppy near the scalp. On younger, thicker hair, this creates edgy texture. On hair that's naturally thinned with age, cutting short, choppy layers right at the root exposes scalp, and creates gaps in coverage exactly where you need the most visual density. It looks less like intentional texture and more like patchy thinning, even on hair that isn't thinning nearly as much as the cut makes it appear. The right version starts the layering lower, at the recommended zone just below the crown, roughly starting at ear level, with longer, softer layers that get progressively shorter, only near the very ends rather than near the root. This keeps full density and coverage at the scalp and crown while adding all the shag's signature movement and texture further down the length, where you have plenty of hair to work with. Ask your stylist specifically for a shag with the layering point starting no higher than ear level, point cut rather than blunt cut for softness, with the shortest layers landing in the lower 2/3 of the length rather than near the crown. This one adjustment is the entire difference between a shag that photographs like effortless, youthful texture, and one that photographs like thinning hair having a rough day. It's the same haircut name, requested the same way, with completely opposite results depending on where that first layer is cut. The snapback moment with this cut is immediate and visible the second you turn your head. Because the layers start lower and get progressively lighter only toward the ends, the whole shape moves as one piece when you walk, rather than separating into choppy, disconnected chunks near your scalp. That single quality, the layers moving together rather than falling apart, is what reads as great hair versus trying too hard. And it's entirely a placement decision your stylist makes with the very first cut of the appointment. I heard from a woman named Linda who'd gotten 3 shags in a row from 3 different stylists, each one leaving her feeling like her hair looked thinner than before she walked in. She finally brought a printed photo showing exactly where she wanted the layering to start, pointed to a spot at ear level, and told her 4th stylist, "Start here, not higher." She wrote to me afterward saying it was the first shag in 3 tries that actually made her hair look fuller instead of sparser. The cut wasn't the problem. The starting point was. Before and after on this final one. A shag with layering starting high at the crown, choppy and short near the root with visible scalp showing through. Next to a shag with layering starting at ear level, soft and progressively lighter only toward the ends, full coverage maintained at the crown. So there's your full list, 3 cuts that genuinely soften and lift a face over 60, and 3 that quietly work against you no matter how normal or low maintenance they seem in the chair. The difference between all 6 almost always comes down to one specific technical request, not a totally different haircut altogether. That's good news. It means you don't need a dramatic change. You need the right words in your next appointment. You now know exactly what separates a haircut that ages you from one that lifts you. And it's rarely the length or the color you'd expect. It's where the layering starts and how the weight is distributed. That's not guesswork anymore. That's a plan you can bring to your next appointment. Tell me in the comments, which of these 6 were you already wearing without knowing it, the years off version or the aging version? Next week I'm covering the exact words to say to your colorist, so you never leave the chair with a color that washes you out again. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Beauty, and I'll see you in the next one.